This is my new tactic that went 48 games without losing a game, scores tons of goals, and performs with most levels of teams as well. It really is a great tactic, and hopefully you guys have a ton of fun using it. If you do enjoy the tactics on this channel, be sure to leave a like, drop a little subscription below. It's completely free and helps the channel out massively. But let's get into the testing phase, and then of course, break down 3 masterclasses. First up, and it is going to be the best team in the video, that is going to be Manchester City. Obviously, we do like to include a powerhouse in the video, purely because a lot of you guys do play as the top teams or have built up a team of a very similar standard, but we have got other teams as well, don't you worry, it's not all top teams, and it is going to be a fantastic season, actually winning the Club World Championship, the Champions League, the Super Cup, the Premier Division, the Carabao Cup, and the Community Shield, making it 6 trophies and close to being a perfect 7 out of 7, but unfortunately, Liverpool did batter us in that cup final. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to show you the result. We're not going to hide it. They give us a bit of a humbling, shall we say. But over to the Premier League, we only lost 1 game, so definitely nothing to be humble about there. Incredible scenes. Only losing against the likes of Wolves, which is a very surprising game there. Erling Haaland coming in with 58 goals and picking up a 7.64 highest average rating. As it is going to be Bernardo Silva picking up 25 assists, while Ederson maintains a 92% best pass completion. We also scored 109 goals in the Premier League, conceded only 24. Yes, we did pick up a fair few bookings because I am quite a big fan of the tackle harder instruction, but of course if you're not a fan of getting bookings, you're not a fan of this, then you can remove them, but just be aware it will change a little bit of how the tactic is actually going to play in the game. But going over to these team stats, we are going to feature in 4 of them. That is going to be the most points per game at 2.71, the most goals coming in at 109, which is a really good stat line for the Premier League, most shots at 697, possession wise we're not going to be up there too much, but still quite a consistent 57%, which is quite good considering this is definitely not a possession or control based tactic. And lastly, we are going to pick up the fewest conceded, which does surprise me a little bit even with Man City, because this is definitely more focused on being an outscoring tactic, hence the 3 strikers, so really impressed we managed that. Hub-wise, again, very impressed. 2.87 goals per game, which is really good in the toughest league in the world. 0.63 conceded again, which again does surprise me. I know you might think, Josh, you are playing as City, but considering how attacking this tactic is, really impressed by that stat line there. 18.34 shots per game, which is really good amount of shots per game to be having. An 86.24 pass completion, again, a really good stat line. And 77.47 on the tackle win ratio. Probably the only area where this tactic does lack, if you want to say, but in my opinion, we're playing a very fast-paced, aggressive football. We're going to pick up bookings, and removing a lot of that tackle harder is going to affect the results. So for me, I'm happy to take some bookings. We won 6 trophies. No, the run of 48 games actually goes all the way from the top here, and you can see some of the results now, all the way down, till we get to this game here against Wolves, where it is actually going to be an Ederson own goal, and obviously a Matthias Cunha 59th minute, not winner, but, you know, goal to get them 1-0 up anyway. And I will show you the cup final. I'm not going to hide any results here. You can see we instantly bounced back and had a fantastic time in general footballing terms. But then we got to this. So it was a 1-1, obviously, against Chelsea, which isn't the end of the world. But it was a bit of a thumping in that cup final, but I think I would allow it a little bit considering you can see the other trophies with 1, obviously a 3-0 here against Liverpool, so sort of tit for tat, and 3-1 in the Champions League final. Of course, we are going to watch some of the highlights later on in the video, but overall this season, it's an absolute dub. Now over to a 10th place predicted team in the French 2nd division. That is going to be Paris FC. No, not PSG. Paris FC, apparently a very fun save. I hear a lot of people say this, and we had, again, a very good season. Nowhere near finishing 10th. We actually finished 1st. Winning 26, drawing 8, and losing 4. Obviously expecting to concede quite a fair few goals, and actually we didn't even really do that. We only conceded 38, ranking us to 2nd best. Of course, the best at scoring goals. That was always going to happen when we're playing with a tactic like this. It's going to be Pierre Vies Hamel. Let me know if I butchered that name. I probably have. I'm trying to get better at pronouncing names, but I do apologise if that is incorrect. 25 goals for him. It's going to be Guy coming in with 7.31 on the highest rating, and it is going to be Manduki picking up 12 assists, and Flipovic picking up a 93% pass completion. I've not done myself any justice there trying to pronounce their names. I do apologise. But overall, still a very good season. Obviously, 10th place prediction, improving by 9 places. You can't really query it. And team stat-wise, we've got a featuring quite a fair few of them. That is actually going to be 4 of them, including possession, which does showcase this tactic can have that element. And to be honest with you guys, when you're playing in lower league tiers, lower football, whether that be in England, France, Germany, Spain, it's quite easy to dominate the ball. So that is why this looks really good. Obviously, we got 57% with Man City, so maybe that is the real average. We'll have to check out the other teams in the video. But overall, a very good stat line there. The most shots we're always going to have, because we do have a lot of shots on the goal. That's exactly what I love about this tactic. 101 goals, a lot more than 2nd place there. And the most points per game, obviously, we're going to get that because we won the league. Pretty common sense. Unfortunately, we didn't pick up the most clean sheets or the fewest conceded. Second place here, to be fair, which isn't too bad. And also, we are going to be joint first with AJ Auxerre. So, overall, I'm going to take it. And the data hub looks really, really good as well. 2.66 goals per game, so quite similar to their Manchester City set of stats. Conceded per game, bang on 1. I'm going to take that any day in this division, considering I made no signings. Obviously, I can't be in a tactic test. 75.78 tackle win ratio. Again, this comes down to your personal opinion. Do you want to take off tackle harder on some of these players? In my opinion, I would say no, because it gets results, and you can see from what we've won, what we're doing with the teams. Just make sure you've got very good depth, because you are going to pick up bookings. I'm not going to sit here and blatantly lie to you guys. You are going to get bookings, but as long as you're playing FM correctly, you've got rotation players, you're going to be completely fine. An 87.10 pass completion and just over 16.5 shots every single match. Another 10th place predicted team, that is going to be Ipswich, obviously over in the Sky Bet Championship. Was lucky enough to go and see that Leicester game the other night. Not a great performance from us, to be honest with you, but we'll take the equaliser. The away fans were given at large. They were silenced. We love to see that. And you know what? We silenced everyone in this save as well. Get an automatic promotion just behind Leeds by 2 points, enjoying a fantastic season, winning 36 games, drawing 4 and only losing 6. George Hurst comes in with 31 goals. Leif Davis picking up a 7.36, highest average rating, the best fullback in world football. Jack Taylor coming in with 14 assists, and Axel Tuanzebe picking up a 93% pass completion. We scored 114 goals in the division and conceded only 40. So to be honest with you, very similar to the Paris situation. We were second best at conceding goals in a tactic which I wouldn't really expect it to happen. So I'm going to take it and be thrilled with it. And also got to the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup against Chelsea and the quarter-finals in the FA Cup against United. It was a really good season. Team stat wise, we're not going to have a lot to brag about, I'm going to be honest. 4th place in the most clean sheets, 2nd place in the conceded. Possession wise, 55%, the lowest out of all of the tests. Still quite a good stat line in my opinion. We're going to have the most goals at 114, and even on this occasion, just behind Norwich on the most shots for, which I'm not going to complain about because we've done a lot in this season. Not the best set of league stats, I'm going to be real with you, but we got the job done. Data hub wise, it's going to look really good because we're actually going to be conceding under a goal a game at 0.87, over 16.5 shots every single match, an 86.95 pass completion. We've discussed 3 times now, or 2 times, why that tackle win ratio is going to be a little bit lower than maybe what you'd expect, because it's a very aggressive tactic. Simply put, simple as that. And just over 2, or just under 2.5 goals every single game. So conceding under a goal a game, scoring over 2.5, or scoring near to 2.5. It's perfection. Lastly, it is going to be Shakhtar. I like to get a Shakhtar test in because they're obviously a very dominant team in their division, and you can really see how many goals you can get out of a tactic. Playing in a league which might not be classed as the most popular league in terms of playing in the Premier League, the Bundesliga, Spanish League, Italian League, it's quite nice to go out there. So please do keep the comments coming, by the way, with teams you want to be seen tested with. I need some powerhouses. I need mid-table teams. I need relegation teams. I can also test with tier 10 database teams. So if you are a fan of a lower league team in the England division, let me know as well. We are going to see an invincible season coming in with 27 wins and only 3 losses. I thought they were all 1-1s then. 2 1-1s and 1 2-2. It's going to be Zubkov coming in with 21 goals and picking up the highest rating with 14 assists coming in there. I am not going to say it because I will butcher the name. And a 93% pass completion from the goalkeeper. We scored 108 goals in the league, ranking us the best, and also the fewest conceded coming in at 25. And on this occasion, 0 red cards. So that just goes to show how different the leagues make also that happen, because some leagues you'll pick up quite a few cards, some leagues you're not going to pick up hardly any. So that is really interesting how that actually affects the tactic. And we also win Ukrainian Cup. So quite an expected double. We're going to take it. How did the team stats look? To answer that question, the team stats looked pretty good for us. I mean, most points per game at 2.8, almost perfect. Most goals at 108, that's going to be over 30 compared to second place. 646 shots for, shots against were also the fewest faced at 178. Possession-wise, we averaged 58%. I'm going to put a staple on that and say that is the average, 57 to 58%. The most dribbles made at 518. The fewest conceded at 25, 5 less than Dynamo Kiev. And also the most clean sheets, very, very convincing there as well. It's a really good season. Data hub wise, and by far the most goals we've scored at over 3.5 goals every single game, 3.6 to be exact. Way under a goal a game conceded at 0.83, over 21.5 shots every single game, an 86% pass completion, and a tackle win ratio of 73.91. This really blew them out of the water. What a tactic. But even with the smaller teams, even with Ipswich, we actually still had a lot of Stampedans. A 5-0 win here over Watford, who are quite a good team, to be fair. Got some good players. It's going to be Clark as well, absolutely levering one into the top left-hand corner to get things going. A shock and playing out from the back there into Davis, into Connor Chaplin, who's going to take on the back line, into Morsey on the edge, who absolutely, again, thumps it in that top left-hand corner. There might be a magnet in that top left corner because we seem to be hitting it a fair bit. A great first couple of goals as we go again now. 50 minutes have passed into Davis, a great player, into Clark, into Caden Jackson. Can't do it in real life, can do it in the game. We love to see that. Jackson again linking up the play into Evans, ball over the top, touches it down to Hutchinson into the bottom right-hand corner. Anyone that watches a lot of Championship football, what do you think of Hutchinson? Let me know in the comments. And the last goal is going to come, I believe George Hurst actually got this one. Chaplin out on the left-hand side, he's going to cut it back in the middle into George Hurst. I remember correctly. What a win. Of course, with this Shakhtar team, we're going to have a lot of so many of these games are sort of 5-0s, 6-0s, 5-1s, 5-2s, and this was one of many, to be honest, a 6-0 win away from home, and we got things going really early, to be fair. We're a bit of a lucky one, I will be honest. What I will say is, having 3 strikers up front, you make the most of the luck because you're always going to have a lot of players in the box ready to capitalise on any deflections, any rebounds. So I noticed that a lot about using this tactic. It worked really well to obviously capitalise on them. As the third goal is now going to come in, the other bonus of having 3 strikers in the box or around that area is when a ball does come in, you're going to have 3 people that are going to be fighting for it, and you score so many goals playing this way. Now, obviously, it's not for everyone because you can't use wingers. Obviously, you could change the tactic if you really wanted to. But I had this request, probably for, to be honest, since the game's come out, for a 4-3-3 narrow or something like that. And it's quite hard to make because not every team can suit it. I know you guys have got to sign certain players to obviously make it happen. But if you do get it right, you can cook anyone. Of course, now to your favourite part of the video, that is going to be the tactic breakdown. That is going to include a default variant, an attacking variant, and a defensive variant. All are going to be included in the video, so be sure not to click off after this one because I include another 2 after this one. And also, thank you to all the names coming down the screen. They're going to be new or existing Patreons. We've got over 1,550 people of you guys now come over. It means the absolute world. Obviously, you get over 9 perks now as a Patreon, including access to all 3 of these files in one simple download, early video and tactic release. You get priority in the rebuild and tactic requests, one-on-one tactical help, I tweak your saves, the entire lot is given, and also some really cool giveaways, including PayPal gift cards, football shirts, football tickets, absolutely loads. Come and join it in the description below. But let's talk about these player roles then. So when making a system like this, you have to be careful you don't go too over-attacking, especially in the default variant. So the wing-backs aren't going to be that committed, as you're probably going to see. But starting things off, we are going to go with the sweeper keeper, who is simply going to be on the supportive instruction. Nice and simple to kick things off. A wing-back on the right is going to be on cross from the byline, because when we have got so many players in the box, I just want the ball getting put into the box, to be honest with you, alongside a tackle harder and also mark tighter. Ball playing defender on the right-hand side on tackle harder, exactly the same on the left-hand side as well. So nice and simple, a bit of a copy and paste job. Again, if you are picking up so many bookings, you can take this off, but just be aware, it will change a little bit of how this tactic is meant to play. I will say that. And the wing-back on the left is also going to be on cross from the byline, tackle harder, and also mark tighter. Probably no surprise, but looking at how attacker this sort of front 3 is, we do need to have a very defensive midfield player, hence why we have got a defensive midfield player on defend, on tackle harder, and also mark tighter. There is no way you could use any of the other roles, in my opinion. For example, maybe an anchor would work, a register wouldn't, a Roman playmaker wouldn't, in my opinion. I want someone just to be a very, very good DM and just sort of protect that back line. That's exactly what this player done. A central midfield player comes in on support, on moving to channels, and also tackle harder. And to finish it off, the Mazzala on attack, on tackle harder, to complete the midfield trio. Absolutely lovely scene. So we've got 1 to defend, 1 to sort of free roam and sort of help everyone, and obviously 1 attacker minded. Now going over to, by the way, the name, the Free Striker Mayhem. I sort of like that name. Let me know what you think in the comments. The advanced forward on the left is going to be on tackle harder. We've gone with a poacher because I've seen countless comments from quite a few people about trying to get more of the unusual striker roles being used, and actually a poacher worked really well in this system. That's what Erling Haaland was playing and obviously got top goal scorer, so we'll take that on tackle harder, and the advanced forward on the right is also going to be on tackle harder. Now over to the team instructions. It's all going to be built off a custom tiki-taka style on the attacking mentality. That is right, the attacking mentality. make sure we got that noted down. Going over to the team instructions, we're going to have pass into space, overlap left, overlap right, probably to be expected. We're really getting the wing-backs involved and obviously pushing up the field. Now, they're not always going to do that. I said about 30-40 seconds ago, they're not going to be the most attacker you could ever make them. You're going to see how we do that in the attacking variant, but for this one, we're going to get them overlapping, but not always, so we're full sending them. We're going to play out from the back because we've got 2 ball-playing defenders. It makes complete logic to do so. We're going to have a shorter passing directness, and of course, we are going to max out the tempo. This is going to be a very high-intensity, aggressive, in-your-face, put in a challenge tactic, and then counter-attack and score goals. Very, very, very entertaining football. And of course, that being said, we have to also run at defence. In transition, we're simply going to have the counter-pressing style, because that's literally what we're about, a high-tempo aggressive system. We've got a counter-attack as well, which are going to push the full-backs forward, but also we are going to have that DM back with the 2 centre-backs, and obviously also that central midfield player isn't always going to be forward, so we have got enough people back, so do not worry about that. And we are quite simply, just got to hit short goal kicks, because I'm not going to be too adamant on where the balls go, to be honest with you, because if they go to the fullbacks, it's perfect. If they go to the centre-backs, it's perfect. Anyone across the back line or even into the middle, we've got a lot of people in the middle, so I'm not going to restrict the goalkeeper's decision. I'm going to let him do almost what he wants, because as long as we're getting the ball and pushing up the field, that's what I want. Lastly, the out of possession tab, that is going to be the high press line of engagement. Of course, the higher defensive line, that is quite an obvious given. Much more often on that trigger press, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, because again, we've got 3 strikers up there, man. We have to be pressing, because that goalkeeper is going to be mind blown when he sees 3 strikers running at him. He is going to get all over the gaff, make a mistake. We saw, I believe, in the Ipswich game, a lot of mistakes get forced on the opposition with these amount of people up front, so it's a very good way to force errors. As you can imagine with this Man City team, he got to a lot of finals, only lost one of them. That is going to be against Arsenal as well. As you can see here, Guardiola playing it out wide into Kyle Walker, cutting it back in the middle into De Bruyne, and you are not going to get much of a better finish than that. No chance for Raya plucking that one out. 5 minutes in that goal as well. We actually go 2-0 up in this fixture as well. Guardiola again from a set piece, going alone, and very rarely you see the confidence for him to actually have a crack like that. But fair play, he got the goal. I can't really slate him. They get a goal back here and potentially could have started a comeback, but with Man City, and with this tactic, we've got to cook everyone. We seal off the game here in the 88th minute, basically. Ake, a direct ball into the Poacher. That's what he does. Liverpool in the Carabao Cup, a 3-0 game. A very comfortable final, this one, to be honest. And we got off to a flying start again. Using the width, and you can see here, a great time to pause. The amount of players we're actually going to have in the box there. And it's going to go to Erling Haaland. And there is nothing you can do when Haaland's in that position. Wins it back there with a great bit of pressing into Foden. Awful from the Liverpool backline into De Bruyne, into the bottom left-hand corner. You cannot give the ball away. And actually, we can see here, this game was done inside of 80 minutes. So, a very easy final. Shocking from Van Dijk. Rodrigo into Guardiola, into Nunes. It's a given final. Of course, as always in my videos, we're going to go over an attacking variant right now, and this is definitely to be used in a game if you're chasing a game. I would not take this into a game right from the start, only to be switched to if you are, you know, sort of 1 goal down or maybe 0-0 on aggregate. You want to really maximise your potential of getting a goal, and we're going to kick things off with an unchanged sweeper keeper. We actually go with complete wing backs now with quite a fair few instructions, but they are exactly the same, so you only really need to pay attention for one of them. That is going to be both on attack, on cross more often, run wide, tackle harder, and also mark tighter. And naturally, also the other default instructions are going to make them very, very, very attacking wingbacks, and definitely the max you're going to get out of any system with the wingbacks involved, because they are really going to almost play as wingers, and trust me, it's going to be scary for the opposition. I will say as well, just to clarify, this is going to make you quite vulnerable at the back. Hence why I do say very clearly not to be taken into a game, only to be switched to. 2 ball-playing defenders are going to remain unchanged. The DM comes off defend on support, still on tackle harder and mark tighter. Not going to get too much involved in the attack, but just a little bit less negative than obviously the defensive one. A box-to-box comes in, pretty much the perfect role. He is going to be told to get further forwards, hence the attack and tactic, but also he is going to naturally drift back and help win the ball back, so I thought that was a perfect role. The Mezzala is going to remain untouched. And as for the front 3, there wasn't really much I could change, because I wanted to keep the Poacher because it worked really, really well in this system, and the advanced forwards I wanted to keep as well. I didn't really want any of them having shoot more often on, because there's 3 strikers. I didn't want to sort of prioritise one, so in my opinion, keep it the same. Team instruction wise, we are going to see a bit of a change. Attacking mentality again, just to clarify that. We're going to pass the ball into space, we're going to overlap left, we're going to overlap right, and of course we are going to play out from the back. We're going to keep that going, especially now we've got their complete wing backs. We definitely want to be be overlapping. We're going to have a shorter passing directness, a higher tempo, be more expressive, and also run at defence. And the real key change, since we have got such an aggressive set of, I was going to say wingers then, fullbacks, we are also going to hit early crosses. Get the ball in there. We've got 3 strikers. Trust me, one of them's going to get a head on it or get a knockdown. We need to get that ball in the box ASAP. In transition, nice and simple, not going to waste your time. The only addition is going to be distribute quickly. Lastly, we're going to have a much higher defensive line and step up more. Now, this is going to put a lot of pressure on the opposition. It's going to force them back all the way to their goal line. You can see that in the image here. Now, you are going to be prone to a counter-attack. I want to keep stressing this in case anyone takes us into a game against, say they're playing as Brentford and they're playing Man City. You will get clattered. This is purely designed for a last-ditch attempt to get an equaliser or win a game last minute. And yes, you can play this way with any team. At the end of the day, if you're desperate, you got to get a job done. And playing like this, I'll be very surprised if you don't at least score a goal or two, because it's so attacking, it's lethal. And lastly, for those of you that are trying to defend a game out, or maybe you're playing as a real underdog team and you want to play with this system, but maybe not as confident in how the sort of original one looks, that is why the defensive one comes in. The goalkeeper remains unchanged. The fullback is simply going to be on support and marked tighter. The only reason we're using fullbacks instead of wingbacks now is because they're not going to get further forwards by default. They're simply just going to be there to defend. Both of the ball-playing defenders remain untouched, and the other fullback is going to be exactly the same as the right one. Both fullbacks on support, on tackle harder, and also mark tighter. The DM in the middle comes in on defend, on tackle harder, and also mark tighter. We then have a central midfield player coming in purely just to pass the ball about, pass it shorter, dribble less, and shoot less often. Almost a player you pass the ball to then get the ball back, sort of like a brick wall, bounce it off him, I guess if you want to say that. A very low risk option. And then the Mezzala comes off attack onto a supportive duty on tackle harder. In the middle, we're going to have a deep lying forward coming in on support, again on tackle harder. The only option I've gone with this instead of the Poacher is to have someone a little bit deeper to come and actually receive the ball. The advanced forward on the right and the left are going to remain unchanged. Team instructions, we are now going to be on a balanced mentality on standard, pass into space. The directness, we're going to go with standard as well, because I'm not as fussed on the short passing style. We've got a deep line forward to knock it up to now as well, so we're going to go with standard. The tempo remains the same, and of course, the mixed crosses, but no, be more expressive or run at defence. In transition, we've kept it quite simple, almost a bit of a long ball approach. Counter press is still going to be on, nothing selected from when the ball has been won. We're not going to slow the pace down necessarily, but what we are going to do is distribute the ball over the opposition defence. And lastly, out of possession is going to be that standard defensive line, the high press and line of engagement, a much more composed way of playing football, more often on the trigger press as well, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, and that is going to complete, you guys, 3 variants of this 3 striker mayhem. Honestly, it's so much fun actually creating a system like this, something a little bit different. It makes it a nice change from a 4-2-3-1 or your average 4-3-3. So yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. If you have, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We're trying to push for 20k early 2024. Hopefully you can help me doing that by clicking subscribe. And please keep commenting any manager rebuilds, tactics, sorry, not rebuilds, any rebuilds you want to see actually. And also any other formations, maybe a 4-5-1, an old school 4-4-2. Keep them coming and I'll add them to the list. We've got a lot to get through, but I'll get them done. But enjoy the rest of your day and I'll see you in the next one. And if you guys did enjoy today's video, here are going to be a couple more videos I'm sure you're going to love. Down here, you're going to see my previous video, and here is going to be a video I personally recommend for you guys to check out. Trust me, you're going to love it.